This is Newsmax TV. House Republicans announced their pledge to America, which they hope will deliver them a majority in just a few weeks from now. Here on the phone to discuss that with us now and some hot political races is Newsmax contributor Dick Morris. Hi, Dick.
Hey, Ashley.
Okay, the GOP unveiled that pledge that includes reining in federal spending, permanently extending all the Bush tax cuts, and repealing Obamacare. It also requires all bills to be posted online 3 days before votes and for a new law to be justified by constitutional authority. Also, Guantanamo Bay detainees would be tried outside the United States. Not surprisingly, Democrats are already trashing it. Dick, how do you think the Pledge to America plan will pan out?
Well, I think that in the respects you cited, I think it's very good. I agree with all those things, and I'm glad they included it. I think it really, and as a campaign document, I think it's fine. But it doesn't go nearly far enough. It proposes $100 billion cuts in discretionary spending. We're going to have to do much more than that. John Boehner, for example, has suggested a 21% cut in discretionary spending, which would be more on the order of almost $300 billion, that would bring us down to the pre-Obama levels. And I think that's more of the magnitude of what we're going to need. I also felt that the changes in procedures in the House need to go much further. I believe there should be a ban on earmarking. I think that there should be a ban on spouses accepting positions with companies that do business with the federal government. I think there should be a special prosecutor for Congress appointed by the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court with budget, with independence, with subpoena power and power to indict and try cases. So those are the kind of steps that I think we need to do. And I think, but as a consensus campaign document, it's a good start.
Dick, you and Sarah Palin are kicking off a Newsmax webcast series beginning October 12th. It's called Make America Great Again. Can you tell us briefly what it will take to make America great again and why it's important for people to sign up to join this online event?
We're going to go much further than the Republican Party did. And we're going to sketch out exactly what the Republican Congress needs to do next year to make America great again, to stop the horrific erosion that's taken place under the Obama administration. And we're going to go into almost every area of public policy and discuss our thoughts on that.
All right, let's talk about some specific races. First, Delaware. Conservative Republican Christine O'Donnell is down by almost 16 points to Liberal Democrat Chris Coons. Considering the Delaware primary was so late in the game, is there any way she can pull this out, and what would you advise her to do?
Oh, yeah, there sure is a way she can pull it out. I think she still has a shot at winning, and not a bad shot. I'm not willing to say right now that she will win, but I think it's no worse than 50-50. She's taken a lot of hits, just like Sarah Palin did when she first emerged on the national scene, many of them unfair, but most of them trivial. You know, who cares what her view of personal sexual morality is, or whether as a high schooler she had friends who dabbled in witchcraft. I mean, you know, come on. We have a president who admitted cocaine use in high school. We had a first lady who in the White House had seances to summon out the spirit of Eleanor Roosevelt. So, you know, give me a break. These are all fluff, and I think that on the basic issues of the stimulus spending, the deficit, cap and trade, Obamacare, Delaware is overwhelmingly going to side with O'Donnell and against Coons. And also, once we start looking at Coons, we understand how radical he is, indeed a self-described Marxist when he was a kid. So I mean, I'd rather be a witch than a Marxist, right?
There's a real tight race in the U.S. Senate special election in West Virginia. Popular Democrat Governor Joe Manchin is in a statistical dead heat with John Racy. Where do you see that one headed and why?
Well, I think Racy is going to win that fight. The Racy, for the first time in polls, has begun to actually lead Manchin. And, you know, Manchin is a governor with 100% name recognition, 70% job approval. And once you see a guy who everybody thinks is a good governor performing so terribly in a Senate race, most of the voters have decided that they don't want him as a senator. So I think that people don't want him to do this. They don't want him to go Washington in that sense. And I think Racy is going to win that. I think that kind of replaces Delaware as one of the really likely Republican wins.
You just mentioned New York. We know you're watching this one. New York Senate incumbent Democrat Kirsten Gillibrand up by 10 over Republican Joe DiGuardi. Now, does he have a chance to turn it around, Dick?
Oh, no, he's not up by 10. She's not up by 10. There was a poll released today by the Rochester Democrat and Chronicle in conjunction with the White Plains Journal News, two news dailies in the state, conducted by Survey USA that they finished yesterday, that has Gillibrand at 45 and DiGuardi at 44, 1 point margin. And I think what's going on is that as voters realize, first of all, that Gillibrand exists because she's been so invisible as a senator, and they begin to learn who DiGuardi is, they're really getting interested in supporting DiGuardi. So I think this could be a bolt from the blue.
You mentioned something about the governor's race there, too, some interesting things.
Yeah, well, that's the other big news. Andrew Cuomo was coasting to what could only be described as a coronation. And he was running against Rick Lazio, who lost to Hillary Clinton in 2000. And everybody polled it, and they found that Cuomo was way, way ahead. And then this guy came from out of nowhere, Carl Palladino, who's a wealthy businessman, a Tea Party type. And he defeated Lazio, and the state committee wouldn't even let him on the ballot. He had to get on the ballot by petition, which is almost never done, very hard to do in New York. And he won the primary, and now Quinnipiac has him only 5 points behind Cuomo, 48-43. And I think that he has a superb chance of doing it. New York State could be the epicenter of the 2010 revolution. We have the governorship that could go Republican, the Senate seat that could go Republican, and that could be the 10th seat that gives the Republicans control.
All right, Washington Senate, incumbent Democrat Patty Murray up by 6 now over Republican Dino Rossi. That race had been pretty much neck and neck. What do you think's going on there?
Well, I think Murray has been very effective in her attacks on Rossi, and Rossi has been, I think, inept in answering them. Actually, at one point, Rossi was 5 ahead of Murray. So there's been a net gain by Murray of about 10 points, and while the whole rest of the country is going the other way. So I think Rossi needs to step it up a notch.
In California, Barbara Boxer up now 5.5 over Carly Fiorina. First, can Fiorina pull it out? And secondly, could Republicans like her and Rossi have peaked too early, as they say?
No, I think that it's a different situation. I think there was one poll that drives up the Real Clear Politics average. You can't always go by that. The more recent polls have her the usual 2 or 3 points behind, with Boxer at 47, 48, and 49, still slightly below 50. I think Fiorini still has a good chance to win that race, but it's not one of the races I would definitively count on in winning a majority.
All right, one of your favorites, we know. In Nevada, is Sharon Angle positioned now to knock out the Democrat Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid?
She sure is. The Real Clear Politics average I just derided shows Angle 1/2 of 1 point behind Reid, but all of the polls of which it's composed show a very, very tight, basically deadlocked race. And, if you're not going to vote for Harry Reid, who is probably the most visible member of the United States Senate, and you say you're undecided, you're probably going to go with the challenger. So I think that what happened is that partially because of the efforts of Americans for New Leadership that really spearheaded this drive in Nevada, and a lot of you out there contributed to it, and we need more. It's AmericansForNewLeadership.com. I think that they have really stalemated the Reid comeback, and I think this race now is a likely Republican win.
Seeing trends as they are today, are you sticking by a prediction that Republicans take back not only the House but the Senate?
Yeah, I am. It's a little bit different mix of states, but it still comes to 10. There are 8 races right now in which the Republicans hold leads. Big leads in North Dakota, Indiana, and Arkansas. Moderate but 8 to 10 point leads in Pennsylvania and Colorado. And small leads of less than 5 points but more than 1 or 2 in West Virginia, Wisconsin, and Illinois. So that's 8. And then the 9th is probably Nevada, where I think Reid is going to lose. And then the question is, what's the 10th? So you have Gillibrand only 1 point ahead in New York. You have Boxer only 3 or 4 ahead in California. Patty Murray 5 or 6 ahead, but that's very recent. That could be turned around in Washington State. You've got a very good chance, I think, of a comeback by Christine O'Donnell in Delaware. And Blumenthal in Connecticut is still mired at 50% of the vote against Linda McMahon. So you have 5 legitimate shots at that 10th seat. And I think we'll not only win one of those, we'll win 3 or 4 of them.
And finally, Dick, on a different subject, there's been what seems like a steady stream of Obama administration officials, especially on his economic team, headed for the exit doors. All these resignations before the midterm elections. Is this unusual, and what do the resignations tell you?
Well, it's not just the economic team. The rumor is now that Emanuel and Axelrod, those are his two top advisors. So I think that what's going on is a combination of things. I think that there is a desire to scapegoat already for the impending catastrophe the Democrats are going to face in 2010. I think that there's a feeling, I'm guessing, by a lot of these Obama appointees, particularly on the economic team, but also a guy like Emanuel, that Obama might be a one-term president and that they better get out and set up their careers while the getting's good. If you want to be a lobbyist, or you want to run for mayor, or you want to become a lobbyist, a consultant, you best do that when your guy's still in power and has 2 years left on his term, rather than after you lost a re-election campaign.
Excellent analysis. Thank you so much, Dick Morris. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching Newsmax TV.